from Jerry, who is a partner of our Agile Tour for long. So please welcome to Jerry. Grab your hand, please.
Thank you. Is it audible? You will hear me? Okay, thank you so much. It's difficult when your session is in post-lunch before coffee break. I'll try my justice to keep it as simple as possible. And with that, this is about what worked in my case, working with some of the enterprise agile adoption, and also working with leadership team. So my story, my learning, I just put it to share from three perspectives. So it's about leadership that when you talk about an agile transformation. So let me quickly go through why it is important. I think from morning you looked at VUCA, volatile, uncertainty, complex, and ambiguity, element. The whole agile transformation is about dealing with unknown. And when you talk about unknown, as a leader, it's one of the key responsibility for the leaders to help set of people. So from that perspective, I just want to focus this discussion. So what does this mean for me and what I learned in an organization when they try to move from whatever way they work to a new way of working, which we call it as an agile? It is the leader agility or the leader agile mindset that determines to what extent her or his team can move to. If my leader is going to be more a command and control person and I wanted to introduce agile, most probably it's not going to happen. It's purely the leader and his or her style that's what lead to. So the leadership style decides the fate of the organization to a great extent. Any leader willing to take a calculative risk or with a nature to the appetite for taking risk is mostly we've seen in the history of agile transformation, moved from one state to another state. So that's what I mean when what is this really important. And some of the data point I wanted to share from the recent agile survey, 80% of the organizations are still maturing. There's a lot of work to do. And it still shows we are still maturing. And also the survey said the three are the most challenges to achieve agility. Company culture, which is very odd to what agile promote. If my organization believe in audit, if my organization believe in well-designed processes, if my organization require signature for every paper we produce, probably looking at a lean organization, lean way of working is a new way which may not suit to the company culture. The second data point, in general, an organizational resistance for change. If you look at any organization, most of the organizations are driven by those individual leader style. Maybe a 5,000 people organization. Within the organization, one of the product group is pretty cool. A lot of people say, I love to work in that group. If you really go up and see, it just replicates that particular product group leader style. Maybe in another organization, it more try to be more controlled. So that's another challenge we look at. And in general, inadequate support from the management. So the current year Agile Survey version 1 shows still 80% of organizations are struggling, are still trying to mature. So what that means is there's a lot of work to be done. So when I look at the leadership debt, the very first thing I want to touch upon is this characteristic, which is courage. Is your organization or my organizational leaders have the courage to challenge or they have the courage to challenge the status quo, or they just try to give excuses all the time. They want to give, no, this is how we are, this is how the domain we fall under, we have to do whatever required, but not challenging the status quo. Because taking challenge, taking risk is one of the, it's something you move out of your comfort zone. It's not all people's easy way of doing the stuff. And we need really to take courage in terms of an agile transformation, because we talk about agile transformation is about a complex domain problem. In a complex domain problem, the unknown is higher than the known. So we need to take the courage. The second one, inspire. How much your organizational leaders can be able to inspire the team. I think most of us talking a lot about motivation. In my opinion, my personal view, I think we overrated we push too much of motivation, and motivation is a very short-living thing. Motivation is mostly external, and for me, motivation is very short-living, short-lived. We need motivational speakers to come and motivate all the time, and it is so difficult to motivate a person every day. Rather, I think it's the right time for the leaders to stop motivate, but rather try to inspire. What I mean by that is, it's also the other challenge I've seen. Most of the organization, when they take agile adoption, the leaders step aside and they say, we are not part of the game. It's something on the business or the product management group or the engineering organization. They need to be part of the transformation, not us. That most probably will not work. The other challenge with motivation, they are again like giving a command, oh, you guys need to take care of this stuff. For inspiration, you have to be in the field, you have to involve, which means you are not a spectator, but you are part of the game. Whether you like it, you like to see a failure success, that comes later, but how better you inspire by doing. For example, leading the walk, leading by doing, go and see. These are some of the things we practice, because this helps people to inspire. So I think it's the right time. Let's stop talking more about motivation. Let's as a leadership, let's move on to inspire the team. That's the most important critical thing. The third one which I want to talk about is engage. So again, the recent data shows 25% of all organizations employee are 50, more than half are disengaged, and another about 20% are actively disengaged. Disengaged is you just come, nothing to do but your computer work, not involving in anything. But actively disengaged, you also try to spread the bad feeling. So overall, if you look at, if you talk about any agile transformation, if you're talking about a set of 100 people with a 50% of population fall under either disengaged or highly disengaged, how are we going to change their thinking? So from again a leadership perspective, engagement is the key, because today if you talk about any corporation, relationship is one of the way you can influence people. So if I as a leader needs to engage with the team which is going through this new way of working, then how better and how sooner I engage, how better and how sooner I translate my vision by inspiring them, not by motivating them, and also having the courage to take certain risk, so that the team which go through this transformation feel they got the psychology environment to support for them to fail safer. So this is what I look at from a leadership perspective. So when I talk about a leadership depth, there is a scale of certain minimum parameter from this versus what is your current organizational leaders exhibit. That difference is what I call it as a leadership depth. So if I want to put it from one of my few of my experimentation working with different organizations, When we started with one of the big corporate transformation, I usually spend a lot of time with them. I try to understand and I come up with a very simple one on the left side. When we started, we forgot about the number, that's not the goal, but you look at those initial things, um, courage in a scale of 1 to 10, 2, and other two a little more higher. If you talk about an agile transformation program with a 300 people, where as a leader we have the least courage, how do you help them? I wanted to see a much more safer program plan. We start agile transformation with a 2-year plan. When that goes not as planned, you feel uncomfortable. And all we believe as a leadership team is we want to have an end-to-end plan and just go and do motivate them. We want to inspire being there. That makes a lot more better sense than just talk about motivation. And last but not the least, engagement. How as a leadership team we can do a better engagement. So when we started with this, in one of my engagement, this is what the data. And 6 months down the line, with this, the next one, we found not all, but some of this one of the successful teams data point, we found them in a much better position. And there are other challenges we lived with that, but moving a leadership team from a low risk appetite person to a little bit better risk taking person, what we found is that required a lot of coaching. We spent a lot of time on the leadership coaching, where with the leadership team, usually none of the framework works. None of the business gimmicks work. They have a different style. But what we've also learned is these 3 simple things, just pushing the leadership team to more engage, just pushing the leader team to little more inspire, and helping them to take calculative risk, which helped them to be a lot better. So now I want you guys, you only know better, maybe think of in your own organizational context, think of working with your multiple leadership team. What is your organizational leadership debt? Is it a good? Is it low? And also I stop here with a question, how are we going to make your leadership team engage in your agile transformation journey? Because it's all about complexity. Thank you.
So I think we have some time left. Any question?
Thank you for sharing. This is very interesting. Just quick question: how do you scale and measure from the better inspire? How do you measure with the number?
So as I said, you don't need to worry about the number. It's not the number that matters. But when we started almost 6 months back, one of the leaders, where there's his risk-taking capability was much lower, the courage part, with understanding that agile transformation is about the complex domain and be comfortable with unknown. It's for like example, a senior person very comfortable to see a 9 months project plan, getting used to see when we talk about a Scrum, a 2-week rolling wave planning or a release planning for every 3 months, moving that person to get used to that and started seeing that in a bigger picture, and also accepting the 2-week as not as a failure but a experimentation to learn faster. So that kind of a shift helps the team to be a lot more better, because the team can take a calculating risk rather than just doing what they told them to do.
As you mentioned earlier, you talked about how you inspiring people. Sometimes I found that when you try to inspire someone or inspire people, but actually in the head they thought that I was spilling nonsense. So how did you inspire your peoples or know that they actually inspired by you?
So the only difference I learned my first experience, inspiration is more of internal. So the other person should able to create that inspiration to follow someone. If I want to do that to happen, I think the way you do certain things, the way you protect yourself, the way you involve, it's a lot more easy to just go talk and leave. It's very different from just go talk but then get involved. So it's like get your hands dirty or go and see, be the result you want to see or be the change you want to see. So these are some of the things which you talk about the inspire. Again, the challenge is it's a lot more easy for the leadership team to just talk, motivate and walk away because they are not part of the game but they are stepping back. And the moment I want to inspire, I just cannot just speak, but I need to get in there and then only the other person able to connect. So the third one we talked about the engage, that's where the connection happens. The connection is more easy when that leader is with me, not on the podium. So that's.
Thank you. Any questions?
Hello. Can you explain more about the inspiration more than motivation?
I'm sorry?
Yeah.
What is
Oh,
inspire?
yeah.
Yeah.
They have the words inspiration and not motivation. Can you give the example?
So example is more the thing come from the outside. So if you look at there are a lot of motivational speakers. So they just come and talk and go back. Okay. So motivation is good. I'm not saying it's not bad, but a lot of people now say motivation is like your daily shower. You have to do that again and again to keep motivating. But inspiration is it's more of like internal inertia. So the moment I feel inspired, you don't need anyone else to come and push you. It's something then it's to go in an automated way. It just happens.
Yeah, but sometimes I maybe it's not in have the inspiration for myself. Have any how to make the inspire for the people in our team?
Okay. Again, it depends on the third parameter. How I'm talking from a leadership perspective. As a leader, where my team is going through a transformation, how much I engage. The more I engage, versus the more I just talk, motivate, and go back. Maybe this leader engage with this team, more engaged, then it is a lot more easy to inspire because not just talk, but I'm being with them. So they can relate it much better rather than this leader just giving a talk and going back. Then it's more I disconnect because it's not that particular leader is not with that being part of the game. So it's like if you watch any match, any game, there are two teams and there'll be a lot of audience. So as a leader, for me, motivators are those just being sitting in the stadium and doing the cheering. It's important, but it's more important when the same leader is part of the game because it matters whether we win or lose, but this is more makes sense. Again, it's again in the context of the agile, especially the agile transformation, or you talk about digital transformation, we talk about the VUCA world. So my unknown is very high. So in that perspective, it's a lot more important for the leader to be part of the game than a spectator.
Thank you.
Okay, if no more question, thank you very much, Jerry. Thank you for sharing. Okay, now before we go